What I'm going to talk about is what I didn't hear any of these vloggers say. Hi friend, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Cassidy and welcome back to Unpacking Life. Moving to Bali is like a dream come true, but there were some surprises I didn't see coming. Here's what I wish I knew before making the big move. While planning our relocation for a year and a half, we watched a lot of vlogs. We did a ton of research about Bali and we felt pretty well versed about what we can expect when moving here. For example, we learned that you don't want to step on the offerings you see on the ground. You have to pay your rent in full for the duration of your lease. Western groceries are very expensive here. And we learned about the different demographics in certain areas on the island. If you want to learn more about that, I'm going to leave some links in the description below. What I'm going to talk about is what I didn't hear any of these vloggers say. I'm going to talk about shopping, learning, relearning, and expectations, language, money, bats, communication, and the dump. Alex and I did have an understanding about certain aspects of shopping. We understood that we weren't going to be able to get everything that we wanted in the stores here and that we would be able to get it online. Like I mentioned in the beginning, we understood that Western food was going to cost more in the grocery stores, and certain technological things are expensive here. But what I didn't think about was the unfamiliarity that I would have with their brands. I know it sounds silly, and I've mentioned this before in a previous video, but it's really strange to go shopping for laundry detergent and seeing a bunch of brands and not having any idea what they are, if they're good, or which one you should pick, and the kind of overwhelm that I feel when I'm looking at that. And I wish that I had thought about that before moving, like that, I had this concept in my mind that when I walk into a store to go shopping, that I'm going to be unfamiliar with what I'm looking at. I guess I didn't even really think about what it was going to be like to go into the store and buy items. It caused a lot of internal struggle, of the expectation I have of what it was like at home and the reality of what it's like here. And things are out of stock a lot here. And, I'm okay with that. That's fine. But what I didn't expect and what kind of surprised me is that the staff, they have no idea when they're going to get that item back in stock or if they will get it back in stock. That's sort of like an expectation that I had from home, right? It's like if a store doesn't have it in stock, they're going to be able to look at the schedule and tell you when they can be expecting their next shipment. Here, there's nothing like that. These expectations are so ingrained in me. I've been living a certain way for 52 years. Even though I knew that there were going to be a lot of things I didn't know, these specific things I just wish I had thought of. And in that same vein, I knew that there were going to be some items that weren't available here, and there's an online platform called Tokopedia here. We looked and we saw that a lot of the items that we know that we want to be able to order on an ongoing basis are available there, and we were like, cool, okay, we won't bring them because we know that we can order them. And I wish that I had been told how Tokopedia works. Tokopedia works like this. It's a platform that the shops list their products on. Tokopedia is not a big warehouse like how Amazon has, right? It's made up of all these different stores. You need to chat with the store through the platform, and you need to ask the store if they have the item in stock. And if you're lucky, they have the item in stock. What we've learned is that a lot of the time, the store doesn't have the item in stock, even though in the little window, it says that there's 1,000 of them in stock. That's just not true. It's just, I don't even know what that number is there for. So if you are lucky enough that the shop has the item in stock, then you want to order it. Then you got to track it. You got to make sure that all the processes are going through and that the store hasn't chatted you back, letting you know that one step in the process has been, disrupted and there's going to be a delay, or they've had to cancel the order. It's like, it really is unknown if you are going to get that product until the moment that it's delivered at your door. And that is just so different, and no one told us that. And that kind of leads into this next point. I wish I had known that I have these expectations that are ingrained in me and that I want to let those go. I've got expectations about my ability to get things done and how efficient I am at these things, and understanding that I am going to have to learn and relearn many things. I talked about this in the mindset video. Every situation I'm going into, I want to go into it with the idea that I'm learning, whether I'm opening up a bank account, getting a cell phone, figuring out how to shop online. All of those things are a learning experience for me, and I wish I had known that ahead of time. If I had had that awareness, I think that I would have more easily gone into situations with more patience and grace and acceptance. And I think it would have helped me to stay more calm and to get less flustered and give myself a little bit more space and room to relax. We watched a lot of vloggers talk about the language. It was very helpful, and for a year and a half, Alex and I were, using Duolingo to help with our vocabulary. And a lot of the locals here do speak English, and it's amazing. They're so good at it. But what I wish I had known are certain phrases that you're probably going to want to know besides hello, thank you, and where's the toilet? Phrases like, it's nice to meet you. Have a great night. Have a great evening. How do you say, can you talk more slowly? Those phrases I feel like I want to say almost every day. And on the flip side, this is something I haven't heard any vlogger really talk about, and that is what you're going to hear on a regular basis. What I wish I could understand when hearing. So one thing is there's a lot of slang here, and so when you're learning online or you're learning using an app, it's very limited and it's much more formal. And so when you hear the slang being spoken to you, you're just kind of like, what? So for example, I wish, I had understood, where are you staying? Where are you from? When you're ordering at a restaurant or you're at the checkout at the market, they always ask you anything else. And I feel like if I had understood, like listening to those phrases, if I could understand that before coming here, that would have helped a lot with like the flow of conversation and just being able to feel like I have a slight grasp of the language. Something else that really surprised me, I wasn't expecting at all, is that the bank only takes certain $100 bills. I don't know why. The teller cannot tell us why. She only understands that that's the rule. For whatever reason, certain serial number bills are not accepted. We had no idea. It just really threw us for a loop. And the other thing I wish I had known, you cannot deposit money into the ATM that is located in front of our bank. That is not an option. There's no button for that.
This is just another one of those times when we think we can accomplish some task. It's going to be very simple, and we can't.
Yep. So figuring out the banking system here has been really strange. So that is definitely something that I wish I had known, because we certainly would have planned accordingly. So watching the vlogs, we learned a lot about the bugs and the insects that you can expect to see in around your home, and that's all fine, and pretty much understood all that except for bats. No one talked about bats. They will sleep under your roof, and they will shit all over your balcony. And you know what? That's okay, because I really think bats are cute, and I really like looking up and seeing them there in the morning as they're sleeping. And what I didn't enjoy was that the landlord had netting around, and the netting was ripped, and one of the bats got caught in the netting and died. Alex had to deal with the bat, and that's like a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother learning and relearning thing. And, you know, thinking that you're going to be able to get a task done and you don't have the tools that you need to get it done, and, you know, having to makeshift something and, you know, try to get it to work. And the whole experience was stressful and sad, and I didn't like it at all. And bats are, you know, a thing here, that they will become a part of your home if you aren't aware of that, you know. So yeah, bats. This next point is a big one for me, and that is communication management, or expectations. So hopefully I can explain this, you'll understand what I'm saying. So, like, you know, when you're first dating or you're first forming a friendship with someone, you're getting to know them and you talk with them a lot about, you know, like, you're curious, right? You're asking, like, how can I best support you? Or what needs do you have? And, you know, how can I best be there for you? And that's something that Alex and I did when we were first getting together. We had a lot of communication in that way. And through the years, we've had to do that less and less, because we've been living in a very familiar environment. We were in our routine, and we come to this new place, all these unknown things, all these new stressors, and I have needs that I haven't had in a long time, and I wasn't really expressing them to Alex or sharing or guiding him on how he could best support me through it, because it just wasn't in my rhythm of communication with him, because we just haven't had to do that in so long. And it caused a lot of communication breakdowns. And I feel like if I had known that and had that awareness, I would have come into the relocation with a much more open mind about having to kind of relearn this about each other. The way that I've been supporting you for the last 8 years may not be what you need now. And how can I best support you? What can I do? What are your needs? And it wasn't really until I had that realization that I then voiced it, and like, we definitely started flowing a lot better in our communication. I really value communication. Having good communication, healthy communication means a lot to me. So when we were kind of like having these breakdowns, it was adding a lot of stress for me, just because it wasn't how we would normally be with each other, and it was kind of freaking me out. I was like, what is going on? Yeah, it's a big one. I wish I had that consciousness before, you know, coming here. So this last point I'm going to talk about is something that's very specific to where we are living in Bali, and that is the dump. There is a dump at the south end of Sonor that is overflowing, and supposedly it's been closed for years, but there are still like hundreds of trucks lined out there every day waiting to dump their truckloads full of rubbish. And it smells from time to time. When the wind comes just right, I get this great huge whiff of it through my nose, and it smells really bad. Whatever is like rotting away in the garbage here just has a pretty bad odor. And like, I'll notice it when we're walking by trash cans, or if a garbage truck passes us. I'll notice it in abandoned land lots that aren't being used for things. When we're looking for our long-term villa, I will be looking further north. Be aware that if you're going to stay in the south end of Sonor, you are going to experience that smell from time to time when the wind is right. Yeah, those are the 7 things I wish I had known before making the big move. I'm sure more things will come up as I have more experience here, and I'm sure that I have forgotten certain things and I may remember them later, but that's what I have for you today. And like I said, if you're interested in learning more about the do's and don'ts of Bali, look at the links in the description. There's some really great bloggers out there. And hopefully this doesn't discourage you from, making your own dreams come true. Hopefully it just gives you some insight, gives you some food for thought, helps you think about things you may have not have thought of before. Maybe you can relate to what I'm saying, and hopefully it's just good information for you to use and to know. Even with all of these things I wish I had known, I'm still absolutely 100% certain that I should be here. I'm so happy to be here. It's such an amazing experience. I wouldn't change it. It's so amazing to embrace the adventure, and so I encourage that for you too. The next time we meet, I want to share with you what our real Bali experience has been like and how it has been adjusting to the culture. I look forward to seeing you then. Sending you so much love. Bye.